Well, believe it or not, I'm going to use this as a jumping off point to ISIS foreign policy.
Sure.
We talked about shit hits the fan scenario. Having a group like ISIS roll into your village where people just scatter out, the population bleeds out, is one of those scenarios. I think it's funny from the political side that we've accused the Israelis of, not proportionate response and overcompensation, yet we're doing the same thing. And every special operations guy I talk to, including you two and Brandon and everyone else, says this strategy is not. What are we doing over there?
Right.
What is the foreign policy objective of the military and or special operations in ISIS?
Let me tell you a story about ISIS. I have a excuse me, a good friend of mine. He's a Yazidi from Sinjar. When ISIS rolled into Sinjar and took over that city, they poured gasoline on his niece and all of her kids, and they were about to light him on fire. And one of the other terrorists said, "No, let him starve to death because that'll be more painful." So they took her 10-year-old daughter for sexual slavery and left the rest of them to starve to death. That's what I'm talking about.
That's a world that's not fair.
The rules and the constraints on human behavior are not there in a lot of parts of the world, and that's one of them. And all these people who have these like carefree, feel-good ideas, these kind of like liberalization theories about the world, it doesn't apply in a lot of parts of the world. No. It just doesn't.
It's what I said before about society. What's happened is the ironic piece is, I'm speaking for America, is that the American soldier has existed for 200 plus years so that our population can be self-indulgent, can be absorbed, and choose and live the kind of life they want. The problem with that is it's gone way to that other side where there's a lack of awareness. We can't imagine. There's a lack of awareness of what it would be like if that wasn't the case. And so it's not that we need people coming up and thanking us. It's cool when people do. Yeah. I'm always very flattered by that. Today I actually came in. I barely made the train in, and I had no cash on me. I only had credit card. I only took credit cards. The guy saw my military ID, and he goes, "Where are you going?" Grand Central. He goes, "No problem." Like stuff like that's really sweet, and I appreciate stuff like that. But really, it's the society thing is what's messing it up because they're not. You guys know what I'm saying?
Because they don't understand that. Yeah, there is a such thing as American exceptionalism,
right?
And I don't mean that in like an arrogant way.
It's not a race. It's not race.
First world problems.
Yeah, it is, and it's that we have something very unique in this country. I mean, I'm not like jingoistic or something like that. So I was born in the best country in the world.
And by the way, science backs that up. Empirical data backs that up.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So let me ask you a question.
It's not racial, and it's not this sort of...
But aren't we being trained
and
to accept
anything? I wish Iraqis had that same situation. I wish they had that same gift, but they don't.
So let me ask you a Special Forces question then. We have so many of these fairness, corporate, academic analysts telling the president, the commander-in-chief, what he should and should not be doing. I would think, and now this is, with all due respect, you guys are the guys who do cultural immersion, language, living with indigenous forces. I would rather the commander-in-chief sit down where I'm sitting right now and ask guys like you what he should be doing rather than asking the Council of Foreign Relations or the sociology department of this university or that university.
Right.
Because
their theory.
That doesn't seem to get anybody anywhere, and ISIS is just, it's on the move.
Well, it's actually even worse than you make it sound, Andrew, because the Obama administration is not just... The people they're listening to are campaign people, like Ben Rhodes, Valerie Jarrett, these types of people. They have no experience in foreign policy. They have no experience in the intelligence community. They have no experience in the military. So
their focus is to get him reelected and to also keep a certain party. In fact, probably both of them do that. But
what the hell do they know?
Right.
But that to be fair, Republican presidents could be guilty of that too.
Absolutely.
You went to Columbia.
Absolutely,
when you're walking around that campus and having conversations with professors and students, do you sense almost instant like you have no idea?
Sometimes, yes. When I talked to a political science professor and he said, "Give me an example of a failed state," and I said Mexico. And he said, "I have never heard that argument before, that Mexico is a failed state." And I was like, well, this is debated in your own political science journals. How can you not be familiar with this argument?
I was, real quick too, I was just on a show the other night on Fox, and we were talking about ISIS, and they were talking about, well, what do we do? Like, what do we do? Like, we can't be like them. We don't want to be like them. And I said, societally, we'd never be like them, but we we can be like them. That's what you pay us for, and that we are our
sheepdogs and wolves.
The sheepdogs and the wolves. We're the sheepdogs. We have the teeth and the claws and the ability to just wreak as much death and disembowelment as a wolf. We temper that, though, with kind of the protective instinct and the love we have for the sheep that are behind us, who actually disdain us a lot of times, too, and actually get mad that we're doing it because it feels bad. But it's the same thing now. So our society, we have the name one Islamic country right now that is a free and open society.
And fair to religious minorities.
Well, let me just go ahead and answer the question. There are none. Name one Islamic country or society that is at the forefront, and not buying it like the rich ones do, but is at the forefront of art, music, literature. Let me go ahead and answer that question. There are none, and that's not an accident. And so we need to keep that in mind. What we can do going forward in foreign policy is stop apologizing. We make lots of mistakes, man. Everybody makes mistakes. Enough of the hand-wringing and second-guessing.
Yeah, this whole Edward Snowden, like, America's so bad.
Yeah, listen,
we got
it. I got it.
But is this a new thing? Do you think back in the 60s and 70s, because Kennedy was a very big proponent.
And by the way, a Democrat.
A very big proponent of the special. Obviously, you guys.
John F. Kennedy Warfare Center. I mean,
Ronald Reagan. Do you think that presidents of the past
right
would have been more likely to listen to a guy like you than some college professor who'd never been to the place?
Well, the closer you were to World War II and even Korea in the early stages of Vietnam, I would say yes. Because, later on, I would say no.
All right.
I have a good reason for that.
But
So what you're saying is, here's to boots on the ground and zip it if you're an academic.
Yeah. I just say thanks and shut up and go to class.